Hello, welcome back. In the previous video, we learned about inheritance. In this video, we're going to take a quick look about some things that we did not go over in these classes, but also learn a new concept called polymorphism, which is another important object-oriented concept, and we're going to see how that applies to Java programming language here. But before that, let's go to the manager class. There are a few methods that we did not create earlier. We're going to create that. The first obvious one is we did not create a getter and setter for bonus PCT. So let's do that. So let's do a right click, go to source, generate getters and setters. We'll select this guy and hit OK. Now that's done. So we have the getter and setter for bonus. Now we're going to add a new method in manager, right? Because now we have the bonus PCT, which is the bonus percentage. It'll be nice to have a method to calculate the bonus for a manager, right? So we could do a public. We want to calculate the bonus and return it. So we want to return double and name the class calculate bonus, or name the method calculate bonus. Sorry about that. So in here, we want to calculate bonus. So we'll name it double bonus equals. We will need to multiply bonus PCT by 100 or divided by 100 into the salary, right? Now we have the salary method or get salary method defined in employee, which we can just call. So you can just call get salary. That's it. So, and we want to return it, right? Return bonus. So we were able to use the get salary method that we are inheriting and just use the new bonus PCT field to calculate the bonus and return it, right? Now here, after the manager object is displayed, you can just say system.out.println and just say bonus for mgr1, and just say mgr1 dot calculate bonus. So this will basically call the calculate bonus, get the value, and then display it, right? So we have a 10% here, which means we want to display 3000. Let's see if it works, right? Let's do a right click, run as Java application. There you go. Bonus from mgr1 is 3000. So we were able to call this method and get the bonus calculated, right? Now we can actually type like this: employee emp1 equals new manager. Now we know employee is a different class, but manager is also a different class. But you can use the parent class's variable, right, type as a reference to a child class object. This may be kind of like hard to understand, but you can think about it as a parent type can always reference to the child type, but this will not have access to all the methods that are in manager. For example, if you type emp1 dot, there is no calculate bonus, right? Because calculate bonus is defined in manager, it's not available in emp1. But if you want to call it, if you want calculate bonus to be available, what you could do is go to employee, right? And then let's do a public double, same method, right? Calculate bonus. But since there is no bonus PCT here, you could just say return 0, right? There is no bonus for the employee, right? Now if you come back here and try to say emp1 dot, you have a calculate bonus. So if you have the method defined in the parent class, right, and you also define it in the child class, but you actually change the behavior, that's what overriding is. We already saw something like overriding in toString, right? So we did the override because we are basically taking the toString method from the parent class, but redefining the behavior in the child class. That's the same thing we have done here. Whatever you see here, it's called an annotation, which we will see in a later video, but you could basically type the same thing to say we are overriding calculate bonus because it's defined in employee, but we are overriding the behavior and giving new behavior here, right? Now, if we were to go back to manager test, right, we have an emp1, an employee type variable referencing a manager object, right? Now let's try to do the system.out.println again here, right? So I'm going to copy paste. We don't need this guy because we want to display it. emp1, right? So let's name it emp1. So bonus for emp1 is we are calling calculate bonus on emp1, right? We obviously want to initialize some value here. So let's give John. Now let's say this guy is a manager and the salary would be, let's say, 25,000 and a 5% bonus, right? Let's try to run it, see what happens. We have it calculated perfectly, right? That's because Java knows that although you have an employee type here, the actual object is of manager type. So to call the calculate bonus on the manager instead of the parent, right? This is the polymorphism concept where based on the object that the variable holds, Java knows which method to call instead of depending on the type of the variable. So that's basically polymorphism. You could define other methods in employee and override it in manager, and then try to call it. But that's basically it. The only thing to remember is employee, this variable, cannot access anything that it doesn't know, right? If you did not add calculate bonus here, emp1 did not know what calculate bonus is. So it needs to know about the method or field that you are referencing. But as long as it knows about it, Java knows that the object type is manager, so it has to call that particular method, that is calculate bonus, on the manager object. And one final thing to note about override. In here, if you do override, it makes sense because calculate bonus is an employee and it's overridden in manager, right? But if you go to employee and you have an override annotation for toString, it may be confusing because there is no extends here, right? We don't have anything extending. We're not extending anything in employee. So what does override mean here? That's because by default, all classes in Java extend an object, a class called object, right? So if you type extends object, it's redundant because employee already extends object, which is a class. So you can just do a right click and open declaration. It will open the class named object. So this comes shipped with Java, and automatically by default all classes extend object. You don't have to explicitly mention it, right? Now if you go to outline tab here, which is a very nifty thing in Eclipse, it kind of gives you an outline of what the class has. As you can see, there is a toString here. So object class already has a toString, right? Which is what we are overriding here. So you might as well delete it because it's by default happening. We are extending from object, and that's basically what we are overriding here. So this is what I said earlier that we will discuss later, and that's why we have override here. You don't need to specify it, but it's good to have it to show that you are overriding this method from a parent class. And in this case, the parent class is the object class, and that inheritance happens by default. So I hope that made sense. I would really like to encourage you to add more methods in employee and then extend it in manager and see if you are able to access it. But that's basically polymorphism. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.